The Annabelle doll. We all love when dolls are involved in scary things, don't we? The real Annabelle doll was an innocent-looking rag doll that was for years sat in the Warrens' now-closed occult museum. The story begins in 1970 when a mother bought the doll at a hobby shop for her daughter, a nurse. Things got weird fast when the doll levitated and moved around. People were convinced that it tried to strangle them by means of dreams and necklaces. Ugh. The Warrens came in and determined that the toy was possessed by an inhuman demonic spirit, locking it up in their museum with ritualistic prayers soon after. We'll be sticking with our mass-produced Barbies, thanks. Yeah, like we'll honestly be sticking with our toys. I mean, I was one of those kids. I played with Bratz, I played with Barbies. I love the mermaid changing color dolls. But there's just something so creepy about the larger dolls with the glass eyes that I know some people obsessed with when I was a kid. Why are they such a magnet for paranormal activity? I just feel like that's a thing. It's probably most likely been perpetuated by horror films and things like that, but man, there's just something so creepy about the hollow eyes of a doll. The South End Werewolf. The case of Bill Ramsey, also known as the South End Werewolf, was one of the stranger cases that Ed and Lorraine dealt with. When he grew up, this possession came back when he bit and attacked a stranger, a nurse, and finally a police officer. Eventually, he was taken to a mental hospital where the doctors couldn't explain his condition as a mental illness. Bill Ramsey then traveled to the United States with the Warrens, where a priest performed an exorcism which cured him, but not before people witnessed him partly transform into a werewolf. No. Whoa, she's getting spicy. This is getting very spicy, I will say. I thought it was gonna be like a Teen Wolf situation. Nope. Satan's Harvest. It is very crazy to me that Santa and Satan are just one letter away from being the same thing. One case that was actually turned into a book is known as Satan's Harvest. This case was about the possession of Maurice Theriault, known as Frenchie. Duh, 'cause he's French, I guess. Yes. Frenchie was a farmer who essentially had two personalities, one that was friendly towards his family and neighbors, and another that was... Once Ed and Lorraine stepped in, they encountered Frenchie bleeding from his eyes and mouth, crosses appearing on his body, and even French-Canadian messages appearing on his back. That's so creepy. I'm glad they solved that issue. That's awful. That'd be so terrifying. The idea of demon possession is not something I welcome at all. I'm like, nope, that sounds awful. Ugh, man, this is bringing me back to all the days I used to watch creepy stuff on the television. I used to watch creepy stuff on the television. Borley Church Haunting. The grounds upon which the Borley Church now reside have housed various religious edifices since the 11th century. Ooh, where is it located? I don't know where that is. Folklore claims that the earliest hauntings there to have originated in the 14th century following the execution of a nun who had an affair with a monk. Spicy. There is no record, but the first substantiated reports came in 1860s. The Warrens traveled to Essex, England to investigate claims of ghostly chanting and ethereal organ music accompanied by the ghosts of a monk and a nun roaming the grounds. Serving as inspiration for The Nun, a potential film of this case would not only be terrifying, but reveal the true story behind the preternatural postulate. Again, like as soon as you bring up anything to do with Conjuring, my gut just turns into a bunch of knots and I'm just, no thank you, no thank you. Requiescat pace. The Perrin family. In 1971, Roger and Carolyn Perrin had moved into an 18th century Rhode Island farmhouse with their 5 daughters. They claimed that spirits from 8 generations of one family lived in the house, including a tall woman whose head was like a sack of cobwebs with little tendrils of hair hanging out. In 1973, the demonologist dropped by to help the Perrins investigate the house. According to Andrea Perrin, one of the daughters, there was a scary seance in which her mother spoke in a strange language and started levitating in a chair. The Perrins lived in the house for 7 more years. How? Huh? How do you continue to live in a place that does stuff like that? This question is not rhetorical. Answer me. Like how, I mean, besides financial issues, because they might have trouble selling it, I would just rent it out to people or something and lie. I have no idea. Like maybe burn it down and claim insurance. Why would you even live there for that long, bro? Ugh. The West Point Haunting. Back in the 1970s, the Warrens were called to a military academy in West Point, New York. When Ed and Lorraine investigated, Lorraine felt the presence of an Irish cook named Molly who knocked over wine bottles and messed up freshly made beds. The officers complained about a ghost moving objects around the quarters, which was later identified as a spirit named Greer. After some research, it was believed that the spirit was that of a Lawrence Greer, who was a Buffalo soldier turned murderer. However, after his trial, there is no record of what happened to the soldier. They did, in fact, keep very poor records back then, so maybe something did happen to him that's not as scary. But I think probably they just buried him in some unmarked grave because they tend to do that with murderers because they were murderers, you know? And now he's angry and he's back for revenge! The Lindley Street Haunting. The happenings occurred a few years after Gerald and Laura Goodwin adopted a girl named Marcia. The case drew a lot of publicity, with several people claiming they actually saw furniture move by itself and a crucifix shooting from a wall. One of the earliest elements of this case was that some people claimed to have heard Marcia's pet cat speak, and one reverend even claimed to have heard Sam the cat singing Christmas carols in the basement. You named your cat Sam? Pfft. Lane? A part of me would be very excited. I have to admit it. If my pet spoke words, I'd be like, oh my god, that's awesome. Now, you have no excuse when I tell you not to do stuff there, or not to eat that. You understand me. Good god. So they actually solved that case? And that's wild. What did they find out? The Smirl Haunting. The Smirl Haunting is one of Ed and Lorraine Warren's most famous cases. The case revolved around a family who had a demon inhabiting their home for the better part of a decade. Demon was extremely violent towards the family and even once threw their wall. Aside from the usual bed shakings and loud noises late at night, sorry, I use humor to deflect from my gut-wrenchingly terrified fear.
Happy anniversary? That is not an anniversary message. That's not an anniversary message I would ever want to get. Oh my goodness. What is going on? He's so sweaty. He's just cackling and then he like gives a little wink, a little smile on a happy anniversary. Where is he? He looks like he's in like a boiler room. And by the looks of it, he's sitting right next to the boiler. He's sweaty. He is a glistening glazed donut of a man. With the blue light of a computer, I can assume, flashing off his glasses there. I don't like this. I don't like the unhinged energy here. I feel like the anniversary that he's celebrating is like that of someone he murdered. I could be wrong, but it feels right. I don't trust this man. Not one bit. Mm-mm.
Ну, точнее, подъезжаю под опору моста, вот он мост.
What are we
Какой
looking
странный
at here?
звук.
Oh, this is gonna be bad vibes, man. Bad juju.
Слышите? Ёпта. Сука. Что? Ты кто это? Кто это? Кто это?
I just like anything that has like scan lines and like that kind of like background, like fuzzy noise, static, whatever. Especially when the voices sound so far away, like that does feel like a lost tape, and it just feels like something's not going quite right. Just brings me back to my days, my formative years watching Marble Hornets. That's what it's all about right there. Very freaky, very Russian, it seems. I feel like I've seen this somewhere before without all of the like cursed tape effects on it. Oh my gosh. Is his head getting bigger? Are his eyes moving? I feel like this is a still image, but it looks like it's changing. What is going on? Is he smiling at me? Is he angry? Is he the devil? I don't know what was going on there. There was so much going on. Like my brain was telling me the image was one thing. My eyes were seeing something else. The music was telling me to get the hell out of Dodge. Just run away and don't look back. This guy was trying to tell me that he can read my mind, I think. That he's coming to get me. What is up with this guy's face? I feel like I'm gonna see him in my dreams, you know? Like I'm gonna fall asleep one night and then wake up, but not actually wake up because I'll be waking up in my dream into another dream, and he's gonna be there and he's gonna be giggling at me like this. It's not gonna be good. Not good. Oh God, that's loud. That is really loud. Oh, he's got a witch doctor staring at his flashy palm. What's going on with his hand? What's up with that? Oh, he's looking at me. What's up, homie? Put the hand up too. You know. Ooh. Sounds like an alien. Sounds like something out of an old, like, bad sci-fi movie. Ooh. So what's up with his palm? What's up with that thing in his hand? Is that magic? Is it technology? I feel like at the end, when he was looking at me and I was looking at him, we were watching each other. Like there's like a presence staring at me through the computer. You gotta wonder what this witch doctor's up to, because when witch doctors were most prevalent, video technology did not exist. So is this a new age witch doctor curing people with some sort of energy in his palm, or is it like an SCP who's trying to cure people of their pestilence by ceasing all biological functions in them? Maybe there's a taser in his palm and that's what's making all that noise that's causing some interference in the camera, just a high electrical current. Whenever he slaps somebody, just slaps the absolute life out of them. The electricity just like sends their soul straight out of their body. Old school. What's going on here? YouTube.com/666. Everything is 666. Oh, there's no more promoted videos. Okay, we've gone from D to just really scary, corrupted background. I feel like I'm gonna get jump scared. I feel like there's gonna be like something that like pops out of the screen at me or something. I'm looking for like more clues as to what's going on here, but a lot of it seems to be in like not English. YouTube, broadcast yourself. Okay. Wow. That was harrowing. That was a descent into madness that I didn't think old school YouTube could bring me on. But here we are. What's going on here? Nana825763 is refreshing youtube.com/666. Does that do anything? I feel like you need like more information in your URL. You can't just type 666 after a slash. You gotta be like /user/666 or subscribe, the freaking watch $V = 666 or something. But that was going downhill quick, and on an old computer too. My goodness. You gotta wonder, like, would an ad blocker block that kind of thing? Although I guess back then ad blockers really weren't necessary. We didn't have as many advertisements. Yo! Oh! This is oh my god, who is this? Alan Tutorial! This is his escape! Bro, I love Alan Tutorial. No, see, I know the whole backstory behind this. This isn't even a lost cursed tape. This is like, ooh, mwah. This is peak found footage YouTube. This is like experimental filmmaking at its finest. You ever seen Alan Tutorial? Oh, you gotta look it up. You gotta look up Alan Tutorial. It's like an ARG, like turned found footage, turned like descent into madness. It's this guy, he like starts making like video tutorials, but he's not very good at it. So it's like, he's like, this is how you like, put a chair on the floor, and then he does that and just talks it up for a little while. But then he gets like locked at his apartment. His brother stops supporting him. He like goes on the lam for a while, and then he gets like picked up by somebody, and they start making him make YouTube videos again, like tutorials, but like it's like not under his own power. It's like they're like making him make like weirder tutorials while he's locked in a room, and he like loses his mind. Oh, go watch Alan Tutorial, the whole thing. It's like 30 videos. It'll take like 3 hours, but it's worth it. Beautiful.
As you can see here, there's 5 stones in a pentagram form.
Pentagram form.
In between these 5 stones, there is sand and ashes. And that's my finger digging through the sand. And I came across a small piece of paper that had been burned, and blowing off the sand of it. And it is very obviously a religious tract, possibly a chick tract. It just so happens to have John 3:16 on it.
I think it's a little far-fetched to say it's a pentagram. Like, maybe, I guess. It is a star, but there's no, like, intersecting lines. It's just 5 rocks. Yeah, you gotta wonder what's going on here. Like, obviously some sort of ritual, ceremony. But, not a lot to go on here other than sand, ash, and stones. So we'll keep you posted on this one if we figure anything else out. Projection? Videotaping a projection of static? Oh. Lips? Face? What's going on here? I wish I could explain what I was looking at. It seemed like it's like a projection against a wall, no projection screen, and then that kind of like outline of a face shows up, and then there's like a mouth at the end. This is one of those things, like if you saw it like broadcast on like an actual like TV station late at night, like you'd think about it for years. But right now, I'm wondering what it means at all. Ooh. Some quality static noises. Like I'm getting a shock in the ear. Oh. Is that a face? Oh, it was a face. That pale circle in the darkness with two points. That was a face. It got closer near the end. It knows. It knows. It knows you're watching. It's coming to get you. The next tape you watch, it'll be even closer. That's what I think. I feel like it was like perfectly disrupted, full of static, full of good static, you know? Really gave me like electrical chills. I wonder what that was. It looks kind of like No Face from Spirited Away, but like more sinister. Much more sinister.
Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia. Used as a residence for the mentally ill as far back as the mid-1800s, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum is open from March through November for tours, truly capitalizing on Halloween's energy. The hospital earned National Historic Landmark status in 1990 but closed down in 1994, and rumored ghosts have haunted the premises ever since. Yes, I've heard a lot about this place. Apparently, it is incredibly haunted. When it was a hospital for the mentally ill, I think a lot of people were tortured in there. Their treatment wasn't great, and I think a lot of people died there in horrible ways. And obviously, early days of mental illness when they were doing experiments wasn't the nicest. I mean, people literally got lobotomized. Can you imagine getting a lobotomy? Like someone just takes a thing to your eye to disconnect your brain. You can't think. You're a vegetable. You can't do anything. You're just numb. Screw that. Or like electric shock therapy. Like it's all baffling to me. Baffling. Nagoro, Japan is a small town. Japan is quaint, but this eerie village in the Iya Valley has just 30 residents and over 400 large dolls. Local resident Tsukimi Ayonu creates them in memory of the deceased, and they bear a striking resemblance to their deceased human counterparts, wearing their clothes and all, which adds to the creepy factor as they silently stare at you from all angles as you move about the town. They are not clustered in one spot, rather they are perched, fishing on the riverbank, sitting at desks in local schools or waiting for the bus. There was a reason as to why the town was dead. Not everyone died. A lot of them moved away for some reason. Everyone just kind of left, and this one woman stayed, and then she just created these dolls, life-size dolls of her former residents and neighbors, and just scattered them around the town. It's like, why? Like, maybe you go too? Maybe everyone just moves? Like, there's got to be a reason that people have left. I know this town attracts tourists now because of the dolls, but it's getting a bit creepy. Like, go and make some other friends in the world, yeah? Not just the dolls? Mansfield Reformatory, Ohio. Legend says that it's haunted, a convincing notion as plenty of inmates died during their sentences, and they just might still be roaming the halls here. It's no longer in operation. It closed in 1990, but you can go on a guided or self-guided tour between Thursdays and Sundays throughout the year if you dare. For a deeper thrill, book a public ghost hunt or escape from Blood Prison. A haunted house meets escape room. A haunted house meets escape room. Future Lucy, remember to write this down so I can go. I'm going to Ohio immediately, which are words I never thought I would say in my life, because why does anyone want to go to Ohio? I can't say it. I don't think anyone wants to go to Ohio. I think people want to leave Ohio, but I'm going so I can go to this. Anyway, this is creepy. There's something about like old reformatories, prisons, or like mental asylums. They're just all haunted because the treatment of inmates back in the day was not the most ideal. I mean, I'm sure now it's not the most ideal. Who knows what's going on in there? The Chernobyl nuclear disaster of 1986 made this city of about 50,000 inhabitants completely empty. For many, it is a symbol of distrust of the government. Time stopped in this place because all the clocks were left without operation due to the force of the tragedy. Yeah, this one is absolutely terrifying, and most people know the story now because they made the TV show Chernobyl, which was amazing. But yeah, a nuclear disaster happened, radiation just hit this town like a bombshell. But I think it took too long for people to get evacuated because so many people got radiation poisoning and died from this event. The town is now left completely abandoned. People can visit, but I think there's a time limit on how long you can spend there. I think it's like up to 2 hours. But there are like many people speculate something else was going on, that was a government experiment, that maybe where are the people, like I'm just basing that off the movie. Dolls Island, Mexico. This island has a very peculiar history that makes it one of the creepiest abandoned places you can visit. Julian Santana Barrera lived in isolation as a hermit. Legend has it that at some point he saw a girl drowning in the river, so he began to hang dolls on the island to avoid the spirits. Yes, that's exactly what happened. Someone died in the river, apparently, and to appease the spirit of the girl, he would hang dolls around so she was happy and that she would not torment him. And now I think more people come and hang dolls. It's just a place filled with dolls. And honestly, I don't want to go because there's something inherently creepy about dolls. I don't know what it is. They're lifeless. They just look lifeless. They look scary. I think Annabelle's also ruined dolls for everyone, but there's something about dolls. Too creepy. La Recoleta Cemetery, Buenos Aires, Argentina. This Buenos Aires resting place is seriously haunted. Even the city's tourism website endorses the neo-Gothic cemetery's status. Stroll among the 6,400 statues, coffins, mausoleums, and gravestones, and you might hear keys jangling. That is probably the late gravedigger David Aleno, who reportedly took his own life after 3 decades on the job, and the day the statue of himself that he commissioned was complete. Damn, I mean, if that was my job, I wouldn't want to be around it either. Look at that. Look how packed it is. That place has got to be haunted. The amount of dead bodies in there? Not a chance. I don't even want to visit. I'm okay not visiting. I would kind of like a mausoleum for myself, though, when I'm gone. But at the same time, I don't. Like, I don't leave my body. Like, I just want to be dust. I want to be like after the Thanos snap. I just want to drift away. But I want a mausoleum and I want a statue of myself and everyone can come visit me and just like give me gifts. Because I want to kind of linger. Anyway, this isn't about me. Akodesua Fetish Market, Togo. Located in the capital city of Lomé, the Akodesua is the world's largest voodoo market and not for the faint of heart. Imagine strolling the stalls and coming face to face with a human skull or an animal head. Benin's folks, Benin is said to be the birthplace of voodoo religion, not New Orleans or Haiti, run the market and believe that in order to heal or rid yourself of a curse, talismans can hook you up with the right medicine. Okay, this market's just baffling to me. It's a place, it's a voodoo market. There's skulls. There's lots of skulls. Do you buy them? It's to do with voodoo. I'm not entirely sure how this works or my understanding of it. Every culture and religion have different things. Is the skull is a talisman? I'm very baffled. I don't know what I would do with the skull. An animal skull? Like, what'd you do? You hold it? I don't know what you're doing with this stuff. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm okay not going there. I'll just skip it. Chapel of the Bones, Portugal. The Bone Chapel in Portugal receives its name because the remains of more than 5,000 monks rest on its walls. As if that were not enough to make it more frightening, 2 bodies hang from the ceiling tied with ropes. Oh my god. I mean, that seems entirely unnecessary. Look how many bones. It reminds me of the Paris catacombs. It's the exact same thing. They ran out of room to bury the bodies, so they just put them down there and people can do tours. It's just bones, human skeletons everywhere. That just seems very unpleasant to me, and it bet it smells. That's all I'm saying. That's a smell you'll remember for life. And I don't want that in my life. Ashima Island, Japan. At some point, this was the most densely populated island on Earth. 5,000 workers lived on this tiny island, a mining facility. The cement buildings today crumble as they have been abandoned since 1974. That whole thing was supposed to be the most densely populated? Oh, do you mean for, like, the amount of land versus the amount of people? Maybe that's what it means, because I think the most densely populated island would be Great Britain. That place is gonna sink. Anyway, the facility shut down, I think, so everyone left, and now it's just an abandoned island. Nothing going on there. That's creepy. That'd be a cool place to visit, though. I'd visit there. As long as there's no spirits. I don't want to see them. Belchite, Spain. Belchite is one of those memories that remain of the bloody wars. In this case, they are the ruins of this town, destroyed during the Spanish Civil War. Many myths have formed around this town that is a tourist destination for the curious in Aragon, Spain. Huh? Such a vague description. I mean, I would go. This seems very cool. Like, look at the crumbling structure. Like, that looks fun. I would go there. It doesn't seem too bad. I mean, if it's the ruins of a war, then maybe there's some spirits lingering. But I'd go here. Seemed pretty pleasant. It also seems like very pretty. I've been to Spain once. It was alright. Like, 5 out of 10 trip.
James Richards. In 2009, a man named James Richard was in Livermore, California. These parallel universes in California, eh? Interesting. Driving home from Turlock with his dog. He claims that when he pulled over to let the pup empty her bladder, she sprinted after a rabbit, and he followed after her but tripped, knocking himself unconscious. When James came to, he was next to an odd machine in the company of a man named Jonas, who claimed to have found his unconscious body while on a work trip for an interdimensional travel agency. While they were together, Jonas and Richards wound up chatting about the pop culture in their respective universes and discovered that not only did the Beatles also exist in this dimension, but they were all still alive and actively making music. Richards acquired a cassette tape labeled Everyday Chemistry, which contained Beatles songs that never existed in our dimension. He even uploaded the songs to a website and called it the BeatlesNeverBrokeUp.com. Now this I gotta see! We're gonna go copy and paste. God, this better not give me a virus. Imagine that. I have to download it? Why didn't you just put it on SoundCloud, dude? Why didn't you just throw it on Bandcamp? Oh yeah, so on September 9th, 2009, I experienced something I'm still having trouble believing happened to me. I came into possession of a cassette tape containing a Beatles album that was never released. The story of the tape. Wow. I am not downloading this. I don't trust this man who says he met a man from another dimension. I would need to be a little more careful. Maybe I will after I'm done filming the video, but definitely not going willy-nilly and downloading a zip file in the middle of filming. Not today, Satan. Carol Chase McElhenney. A woman named Carol Chase McElhenney was driving in San Bernardino towards Paris, California, when she saw a road sign for Riverside nearby. Since that's where she and her family's roots were, she wanted to visit the familiar place, but when she arrived at the street she'd grown up on, she claimed she couldn't find her old place, and all the houses looked different. She decided to drive to the street her grandmother used to live on, but discovered it was altered as well. When she tried to visit the cemetery where her grandparents were buried, it wasn't there, and the lot was fenced up and full of overgrown weeds. Already baffled, Carol pulled onto University Avenue, a place where you'd usually find restaurants, hotels, and other businesses, but it was an unkempt, graffiti-covered area, and something about the people there frightened her. She was afraid to get out of her car, feeling as if she interacted with the people there, she'd forever be stuck there. After a couple more frustrating hours not recognizing things, she returned to Paris. A few years later, Carol's father died and was to be buried in the same cemetery as her grandparents. When she arrived, everything was back the way she remembered it growing up. Carol believes she visited a parallel dimension with an ill-fated version of Riverside. Damn. That feels like an episode of The Twilight Zone, or maybe Goosebumps. Maybe a short film. That would be so, like, upsetting. Like, it would, like, crush your soul to go back and, like, not be able to recognize anything. To walk around in this place and just be like, this is not how I remember it. Of course, you know, any town you grow up in, you're gonna return to later, and a lot of things will have changed. You know, like some of your favorite businesses might have gone out of business, some buildings you might have recognized may have been knocked over, but to have it just like all totally not correct would like drive your brain crazy. There'd be an itch in there, it would be impossible to scratch. You gotta wonder how you go there and not like just like have like a breakdown. I mean, she said she was like pretty close, right? Poor Carol. A mysterious man from Taured. Allegedly, this man told customs he was in Japan for business and had legitimate visa stamps, currency from multiple European countries, checks from an unknown bank, and a driver's license issued in Taured. He was sent to a hotel while things were sorted out, while 2 immigration officers stood outside of his hotel door. But when they went to check on him in the morning, he'd vanished. This was from 15 stories up, above a busy street, so escaping through a window was unlikely, if not impossible. The Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department searched, but never located the man from Taured. There we go. Here's some. Those are some hearty details there. Those are the meat and potatoes of your crazy interdimensional stories. He had all sorts of stuff going for him. He had money. He had a passport. He had visas. He had a backstory, I guess. I feel like a lot of these people are just like, yeah, they were there and then they weren't. They said they were from somewhere, but then they weren't. This guy's got a whole thing going for him. The man from Taured. Is he really green though? That's what I have to wonder. I wonder what Taured's like this time of year. Screaming girls sucked into an alternate universe. What a title! The ladies had been driving on black asphalt in the desert, but after taking a wrong turn, they said they found themselves driving on white cement, surrounded by grain fields and a lake. They spotted a building with a large neon sign making up illegible random squiggles. As they pulled in for assistance, a large group of tall men poured out from the front door, seemingly shocked and upset, waving their arms at the girls. The girls then realized these tall men didn't appear to be human, so they freaked out and drove off. While the girls were driving away, they noticed 4 peculiar egg-shaped automobiles mounted on tricycle-style wheels were following them. They sped ahead until the mysterious vehicles were out of sight, and when they reached the canyon and drove all the way back through it, they'd somehow returned to the desert they were originally in. Glad to be back, but unable to figure out the mysterious place they'd just gone or how they arrived there. It feels like that scene from in the Mouth of Madness, right? In the Mouth of Madness, the Carpenter flick, where you know you read Sutter Kane. Feels like you're just driving on the highway, and then all of a sudden, whoosh, you're somewhere else. Except this time they're driving on white concrete, and aliens that drive tricycle eggs are chasing you. It's a good story, I'll tell you that. It's a fun one. Good sci-fi. Jofar Vorin. So this story goes, a peculiar guy popped up in a village where he was picked up and questioned by authorities. The only comprehensible language he spoke was a broken variation of German, but he said his name was Jofar Vorin, and claimed to come from part of the world known as Sakria. He conveyed that he was searching for his long-lost brother, whom he'd been separated from during a shipwreck. While he had geographical information regarding his home planet, such as 5 compartments known as Sakria, Aflar, Aslar, Auslar, and Uflar, he couldn't trace his route on shore, and he would wind up living in Berlin, where he was a topic of discussion amongst the scientific and simply curious communities. This just sounds like a guy who's convinced himself he's from another planet. I don't know if he's actually from another planet. You know, he's speaking German, and he's near Berlin. You can kind of maybe be like, okay, that works. His name is Jofar, and he just made up a bunch of stuff. People do it all the time. They write books about it. Sci-fi books. This guy could be a great author. Come on, Jofar, get it together. Cabin in the Markawasi Stone Forest. One day, a woman and her friends were camping at a site near the mysterious forest where they heard music coming from a small stone cabin that was lit up by torches. They claimed to see people wearing 17th century fashion dancing inside, and the curious woman was drawn to it, so she headed over and tried to enter. Before she could get inside, a friend pulled her away, and half of her body immediately became paralyzed, the half that had entered the cabin. Some believe that the woman partially entered a dimensional gateway, and when she was pulled out, she experienced a shift that threw off her nervous system, resulting in her partial paralyzation. Wow. Poor woman. I don't really know what to say about this one. It sounds like these folks may have been experiencing some hallucinations, maybe from some hallucinatory substances. because nobody else seems to be able to back them up on this happening. Nobody else has ever seen any singing and dancing going on inside this wood cabin. They were near the mysterious forest. I don't know. Lorena Garcia Gordo, the woman from a parallel universe. Lorena Garcia woke up one morning and noticed minor differences. Her sheets were unfamiliar, and the pajamas she was wearing were different from the ones she'd gone to sleep in. Her day got weirder when she went to work and discovered that her office was no longer hers, and she worked in the same building but in a different department, under a boss she'd never met. Bamboozled, she returned home only to find that her ex-boyfriend was there. Only he wasn't her ex, he was her current boyfriend. Her new lover, whom she'd been dating for months, was nowhere to be found. Lorena believes she woke here, but she's from a parallel universe where the differences are small as her bedspread and significant as her love life. How'd you get here, Lorena? Where'd you go to get here? How did you travel between the universes just by going to bed one night? Is that a thing that happens? Are the folds on your sheets, folds between our universes? I don't know. This is freaking me out, Lorena. You gotta tell me more about the universe you came from and how your brain's doing. Take too much Advil? Huh? Drink a lot of water? You okay? I'm wondering. I'm worried. I'm worried about you, Lorena. I am. Pedro Olivia Ramirez. In November 1986, a man named Pedro Olivia Ramirez was driving from Seville to a town called Alcalá de Guadaira when he went around a curve and allegedly found himself on a 6-lane highway. He continued driving down this straight road, seeing unfamiliar things like 20-story housing units, unidentified structures, and grass about 2 feet high along the edge of the road. Shortly thereafter, he felt a hot sensation within his vehicle and heard distant voices, one of which stood out, informing him that he'd been transferred to another country in a different hemisphere. He continued driving on the highway for an hour and then stopped to examine the unfamiliar roadside area. After getting back in his car and continuing his drive, he spotted a sign pointing in 3 different directions. One was labeled Malaga, the other was Sevilla, and the last one was Alcabala. Pedro took the Sevilla detour, and without fully knowing why, he stopped driving. When he looked to his left, he was standing outside of his home in Alcalá de Guadaira. Frustrated and confused, he tried to retrace his steps, but could never find the crossroads or the triple road sign. Yeah, this guy just went through a different type of wormhole, man. He was flying through universes, through alternate universes. Kinda sucks that he got so far just to kinda like be back home, you know? Spent a lot on gas out there. I'd just be interested to see what's going on. You gotta wonder how he didn't stay there if he was driving in the wrong direction for so long. Like he wasn't just like permanently trapped over there, unable to find his way back. I don't know. It's interesting. So I've never discussed this with anyone other than my sister and a friend of mine. Around the age of 11, my family decided to go and visit my grandparents, and while we were there, I decided to go out and play around for a bit. They had a road that had stores and a car park on the right that had enough space for me to play around with my friends that lived there. As I got down and ran to that car park, a car went past that nearly crashed into me. And in that car, there were 3 passengers, a woman, her daughter, and a male driver. As I dodged the car, they looked like they had no emotions whatsoever and looked really dull. And as I focused into the car, the male driver was my dad. Very easily distinctive, and the car was our car. Same color, same car plates, same everything. As I was in there with shock, I instantly ran up to our car thinking it was stolen, but our car was right there. I turned around to follow the other car, and all I know, the car was no longer there. This guy witnessed some doppelgangers. Some people pretending to be his family, pretending to be in his family car. Why would it try to run him down, though? Maybe it's them from the future. Maybe this kid did something bad. He did something real bad. They gotta go back in time and take him out. But he dodged it, so he's still out there, writing stories on the internet. Maybe that's what they were trying to stop him from doing, you know? Maybe he wrote a story that altered the course of history or caused a giant uprising of some sort, and these folks were like, "You've ruined our lives. We're totally devoid of emotion. We haven't been able to afford another car. This is the same one we have. But we'll go back in time and smack the kid." Deja vu. When I wake up, the first thing I do is get on my computer, and so I did that one morning. I decided I'd check my subscription feed on YouTube, and the first video that showed up was just some mundane story time type of video. I don't usually watch this type of stuff, but for some odd reason I had an urge to click on it to see what it was. And so I did. I watched a few seconds of the video unamused, and then suddenly I got a huge feeling of deja vu. I felt like I'd watched the video before. But the weirdest thing is that I started reciting it. I knew every word said in the video. I freaked out because watching this video before was impossible, as it was uploaded 20 minutes before I watched it. I even checked if this was some sort of re-upload or remake, but it wasn't. Maybe you've got a mental connection. This person's your long-lost twin, and you've got the twin telepathy going down. You know these words by heart because they happen to somebody that is very close to you. You just might not know it. The best way to avoid things like that is maybe don't go on YouTube very first thing in the morning. You know, if you want to have a good day, maybe YouTube isn't the first thing that you subject your brain to. I know, we're on YouTube right now. We all love it here. But, you know, maybe have some orange juice, you know, sit at the kitchen table, take a deep breath, maybe walk outside, and then you can start on the YouTube once you've kind of acclimated to being alive again for the day. Because you might end up just having deja vu with a storytime video.
No, don't move the camera so fast. There's a fucking guy. Oh, I was on the edge of my seat. I mean, I don't know how legit this is, but I was like, I need this to be a movie. It kind of reminds me of Grave Encounters. They need to make a horror movie, like an urban exploring horror movie that's British. Not to shit on Hollywood or anything like that, but that's what makes a British horror movie so good, is that we're not gimmicky. It's like raw, it feels real. It's like you're there. Like 28 Days Later, that was so good because it felt like it was real. Whereas any zombie movie in the States, it just feels so gimmicky, so Hollywood, like you can feel and smell the cash, you know? This would be amazing if it was a British horror movie. I'm here for it. I'll invest. Someone write the script. God, look at that old computer.
There it goes.
It's working?
This is gonna be a long boot.
Nostalgia.
Oh. It's 98. What goes in me? Who is Margot? This was Margot's computer. Oh my god. Shit, let's look at the files, dude. Go to documents. Start talking about on her desktop. I think she organized it. That damn dissertation. Patients in building 1A. Click that one.
That, like, honestly, it wasn't creepy to me. That just gave me, like, a rush of nostalgia that reminds me of growing up and having a desktop like that at home. Oh, and then you'd have to wait for the dial-up internet to kick in, which, I bet there's a lot of young people watching. You won't understand the pain and suffering when you were trying to go on the, when someone was on the internet and you needed to use the phone, and you'd pick up the phone and all you would hear is, you know, I can't do it properly. And then when you would try and do the internet on the computer, you'd have to wait for it to dial up, and it's like, God, but dial-up internet, it would take so long to connect. It was brutal. And then, yeah, you couldn't stay on for long. So slow. God, that just gave me so much nostalgia. I don't know why that deeply affected me so much. There wasn't really anything going on other than little snippets of things left behind by children. I assume this is some kind of children's hospital. The cuddly toys, there's something about stuffed animals that are inherently scary to me. I just assumed they're possessed or they will come alive and kill me. But this is creepy. It's the music as well. The creepy music. It reminds me of something out of American Horror Story. I do not like it. Like, I know the building itself doesn't have a soundtrack. Like, when you walk in, you don't just hear this. Like in American Horror Story, when you walk in, you hear Dominique. Can't sing the song because I don't know the tune. I'm pretty sure I'm tone deaf, but we won't get into that. Old LA Zoo. Hawthorne Plaza Mall. Underground Tunnels, classic. Murphy's Ranch. Sunken City of San Pedro. Landslide. Like, I'm always intrigued when I see stuff like this. I'm like, yeah, that would be amazing to explore, but you just know anything that's abandoned, it does invite scary people. You know, I bet there's a lot of people in there putting stuff in their bodies. That's all I'm saying. It's creepy. I don't want to go, because if you go, you might die. And no one wants that. So I don't encourage it at all.
So today we're going to this abandoned neighborhood. The neighborhood is filled with 155 homes that are abandoned.
Oh.
Alright, we had to run into a house really quick because a car was driving by, so I guess this place is patrolled. Right now, we're kind of just hiding out. Alright, so we're getting a little nervous. For the sake of documenting this, I'm just going to show you a few clips of the neighborhood. Alright, you can see how eerie it is. It's just so weird to see such a big development completely.
Okay, that actually really freaked me out. First of all, it's like nothing's ever abandoned. Not really abandoned. If you've got a development lot here that's like 500 homes, there are for sure squatters in there. That's what I'd be scared about, running into someone who's also hiding in one of those homes. Freak. And yeah, no doubt they're patrolling. Of course they're going to patrol. There's just 500 empty homes. They know what's happening. The police have to patrol. Oh, I can just like imagine the adrenaline they were feeling as a car drove by. I would myself. I would just hide. I would hide in the home. Oh, that'd be a great movie. This is a great movie idea. Damn, beat. Okay, I missed at the beginning where the person said they were, or if they even said where they were, but this looks like some kind of home, but like it looks like a home that could be in the South, like I'm talking like Texas. It kind of looks like some kind of like plantation or like estate. And they had secret rooms, almost like the home, you know, in New Orleans that they depicted in American Horror Story Season 3 Coven. That woman. Yeah, it just looks like it's full of secrets, and now it's full of devil worshippers apparently, because there was a pentagram. Oh my god. Oh, it cut off. I would love to have heard what he said. I thought he was about to say, oh, it's haunted. Which, probably. These are probably hard facts. Can you imagine living in a place for so long, or I guess this is their studio, and the whole time you have no idea there's a trap door leading to some creepy stairs into a black pit. Like, what's down there? 100% bodies. Who needs a trap door? There's like a lock on it on the outside, keeping bodies down there. People, prisoners, so many possible explanations. I don't even want to get into it. Freaks me out. That's creepy. First of all, why are all the patient files still there? Surely they would have taken it unless it was in a rush. I guess if you're forcibly evacuated, you wouldn't have time to grab everyone's file. But I thought they would have to grab everyone's file. What if I went to the hospital? Is my file sat there? Probably wouldn't be that interesting. But that's creepy. Like, why would they get abandoned so quickly? Why is everything... I don't know. That's weird. It's like something out of Chernobyl, you know? You got a few seconds, get out. And then everything else just remains. Like, everything stopped. Time stopped. It's the music, it's the music. I can confirm now. Nothing else is creeping me out, it's just straight up the music. Yeah, no, I've got no interest in going to a children's abandoned hospital. Something about children that make things 10 times more terrifying. I don't know why. It's because... I don't know why. It's because children are usually demons. Jesus. What? Okay, it said Waterbury something. That was just intense. The music was like a slap in the face, to be honest, but that looks creepy. Are there just a bunch of gravestones? I see like a cross with a cross that's wearing a scarf. I'm not really sure. I need to know the history. There is no history to this place right now, so let me know in the comments below if you know where this place is and what it's all about. Just looks like a piece of land, to be honest.
Oh my god. Stop it! I don't even have to say anything. You know what happened. No! Oh, that was so bad. I hated that. What on earth?
What?
Oh, the stove turned on. I was like, what? What's going on? It's a pot. I thought it was like maybe a raccoon was on top of the paper towel dispenser. I think that's what it was above the thing, but it wasn't. I don't know what that was, but I didn't realize that the pot. I was like, it's a pot. Oh no, we only use frying pans. That's creepy though. If all of a sudden the stove just turned on. Imagine from the ghost perspective, like it's just trying to see if it can do stuff. For instance, like it's just trying to see if it can turn on the oven. It's just like trying to turn on. Finally does it, and then these guys come and turn it off. How pissed would you be as a ghost? Being like, oh, just did that. Let's go to see if I can make eggs. This is number 1, so I'm really scared. Don't pop out of me. Don't. Could have been the wind. Could have been the wind.
اشتكيت. البضاعة الموجودة في هذه الغرفة كشافة. الله.
Oh. Mamma mia! That's a window that just moved after a light orb passed by. You know what? When the door closed for the first time, I was like, oh my god, there's a ghost on the door, because all I saw was those eyes, and I thought, oh man, it's a ghost-shaped sticker, and then it was a cat-shaped sticker. I think it was, pretty sure that was the cat from the Aristocats. Oh my god, it totally is! That's a cat from the Aristocats, and I was like, oh, yay, look at that. Why are you on a door? Anyways, I didn't even know that they printed those. I would have been all over that as a kid. That was cool.
Cuidado, cuidado.
Ooh, I love Spanish.
la cabeza.
I I think it's Spanish. Oh.
21.5. ¿Por dónde se salía? ¿Recuerdan?
It's such a beautiful language.
¿Por aquí?
Yeah, it's Spanish.
No.
Okay. This is Portuguese.
¿Qué son? ¿Qué, güey? ¿Qué, güey? ¿Qué, güey? ¿Qué, güey? ¿Qué?
¿Qué, güey? Vi algo en la ventana, güey.
We get to see twice a dark figure staring at us from the window.
What? I didn't see that. Huh, wait, I don't see that. Let's go back. Okay, I paused it. I don't see anything. I see like a little white orb like dodging out of the window. What if it's just one of the camera guys being like, you know, but it's night vision, so you would see. Okay, I can't explain that. I'll give it that one.
And soon thereafter, a foul smell washes over Jennifer, the same one who moments earlier happened to be asking for a sign. Well, seems like she got one, and not fake it. She smells the rotting stench coming from the door. Watch her reaction as she tries to leave. Just then, their friends enter to talk about their experience while using a Ouija board downstairs. They spelled out a demonic name, and just the mention of it registers on their equipment. And while paranormal equipment is designed to withstand electromagnetic interference, normal cameras are not.
Never use a Ouija board. Say it with me. Never use a Ouija board. You want to know why? Because crazy stuff like this happens and then you can't shut the door, okay? If you're actually gonna go and look for spirits, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but contact a professional. I've never used it. That's not true. That's not true. I have used it once, but it was a plastic one. It wasn't even real. It was just like a sheet.
Orbs are going crazy, although it is pretty dusty in here. Anyway, pay attention to this side of the room. No one is here, yet in moments a paw flies from this direction, and when he turns around you can see the room is completely empty. Phantom figures crouch low behind doorways and promptly disappear. And when he hears these running footsteps overhead, he knows it's time to leave fast.
I'm so sorry, I'm so rude.
They sound heavy and are heading straight his way.
Get out of there! Leave! What are you doing? Get out! Get out of there! I wouldn't be there for 2 more seconds. Also, like, pots and pans are flying everywhere. You don't want to be in that room. Some ghost is probably trying to cook a pasta.
Go to the follow-up video, in which he sees something in the basement mirror.
Wait, what the? Do you guys see that face? Oh my.
Whatever he sees in that mirror seems to upset him quite a bit.
I didn't see if. Ooh, I got the hiccups. I'm watching the right video for those. I didn't see anything. I just thought that was. I thought for a second it was just kind of like a woman standing in a white dress because, you know, it's a ghost if it's a woman standing in a white dress. But I didn't see any. Oh wait, now I see it. There's a frozen picture frame and I'm kind of seeing like a little bit. Okay, that's okay. All right.
Z. Rogers leads a ghost hunting team through the dark asylum, and it isn't long before they are engulfed by paranormal activity.
What the? Holy sh!
It sounds like a door opens, and you can see Lindsay looks right, but the door is still shut. There's a second banging noise that almost sounds like a body hitting the ground.
Can't even get scared, and you guys know why. Because I've said it before, but I don't want to be rude. But I'm being rude. I just can't, because it just sounds like he's talking about surfing, but he's not. I love how that's like one of those paranormal videos. I'm like, I don't really see anything. It could be anything. Like, it could be one of the camera guys just like throwing, you know? Just like, pfft, why not? Hey guys, I'm gonna throw this pot. Because you never know.
It appears that signaling does not really do anything.
What is that? Looks like somebody
But who knows, maybe doing it for a bit more will result in the 2 people leaving.
Are there two of them? I think so. What are they doing? Huh, you know what that reminded me of? You know when you're like at a sleepover or something and you have like a sleeping bag and you just like hike it up to your shoulder and just like and you play that game with your friends? Or maybe that was just me. I think that was just me and my weird friends in high school. Did anybody else do that? Let us know in the comments because it was fun. But that's what that reminds me of. Like, these are just two people in the middle of the street going, can you leave, please? We're playing a game. That's what it looks like. That's what that reminded me of.
Şuraya bağlanıyor.
Oh god damn it. I'm already. Jesus.
Gel şurada bakmanımıza da var.
Trying.
Allah! Birisi.
What is that?
Yarasa.
Okay. Like, was it a snake? I don't know what that is. That looks like a snake dressed up in a party outfit. Debunked. There it is. Great. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Rachel Fisher. And at least you got one really good jump scare out of me. Yeah. Let's hope I don't have nightmares.